Welcome back. I am Derek.
I'm Mike.
This is That's What He Said. A little bit of a hiatus here over the last probably five weeks, but it's nice to be back with you guys. Mike, how you been?
Been pretty good, man. I can't complain.
Yeah, so a lot I think has happened. So we're getting back into the school season and coming out of COVID at least a little bit here in Indiana. Some things are starting to open back up a little bit, which is nice. How are your kids adjusting?
They're doing pretty good. So Mia, she's going 2 days a week to school. So she at least gets to get out a little bit and feel like she's normal again. My son, he chose to stay home the whole time. So he's loving it because he doesn't ever want to leave anyways. So
Now
yeah.
tell that story again about the options and basically what your son said, just to give a little bit of an insight in the personality of your son.
Well, so he told me he was worried about getting COVID.
Yeah.
So when he told me that, I looked at him like, "Are you?" And he's like, "I mean, I could get it at school." And I was like, "Yeah, but are you really worried about it?" He's like, "No, but he's like, I could get it." And I'm like, "Okay, so you want to stay home?" He's like, "Yeah, I want to stay home." And I get him up though and get him moving around because he's gotten as lazy can be.
Oh,
Like,
man.
I mean, but if I was a kid and you told me if I could or could not go to school, I'd stay. So,
So and that's I was going to ask you some of the good, bad, and ugly that you've experienced in the 5 months that we've kind of been under this. But I would say one thing, speaking on behalf of my son, that's one thing. Like he really wasn't much of a gamer per se, and now, I mean, he's on that thing all the time. Whereas he used to run around the neighborhood and play with his friends or whatever. So have you seen the same thing with Chase?
yeah, definitely. Like he used to love being outside. I mean, he still likes to go outside, but man, he's ready to go back in and play some video games and just watch a movie or whatever now. So yeah, he's I think it's starting to become a problem. I think I need to nip it in the bud.
Yeah, and I mean, I was trying to take the approach too. It's like, you can't come down on him too hard because
Yeah,
we've
no,
never
no,
experienced anything like this.
no.
It's like, oh, I don't want to be that dad. As long as he's still moving around a little bit and get
Yeah,
some exercise. But now that school's getting back in, and same thing. My oldest two are 2 days in school, 3 days at home, and just there in the early phases, there's plenty of pockets of time throughout the school day where they're not actively engaged, especially the e-learning piece. So he's reverting back to the Xbox. So trying to get him back in the mindset like summer vacation's over, and
yeah.
so we'll see how all that stuff goes.
That is the biggest thing. That I think he still feels like it's summer
Yeah.
vacation, and the problem is too is he's just getting his e-learning. He's doing so easily. Like I'm worried that he's not really learning anything. I'm like, how is this so easy for you still? I mean, isn't this new stuff? He's like, yeah, but it's not hard. I'm like, okay.
Well,
I don't know. I'm not sold on e-learning yet. I don't like it very much, but
yeah, and you got to feel for the teachers. It's just a tough spot. Again, nobody really knows what's going on, but hopefully here, it'll be interesting to see what happens around the election time, but we won't go down that path, at least on our podcast. So
that's another podcast we might start.
Yeah,
I got a lot to say.
I know you do, and I know how you get going. So we'll leave that one there. But we were talking a little bit before we started this, and it's just kind of funny how things happen when we, we've been talking about doing this for a long time. COVID came where everything's pretty much on lockdown, and it's like all of a sudden, okay, well, now we finally have the time. We came out of the gate strong.
Yep.
We
were very consistent.
We couldn't travel, so we were doing the Zoom calls. We crunched out, episode after episode, at least once a week, and then it started to tail off. And then as things slowly started to open back up, obviously school getting back going, it's all, they're not excuses because it's legit things,
Yeah.
but it just kind of goes back. At least, I was thinking about this as, in order to, at least for me, trying to turn the page, like self-worth, self-motivation. Like if you can't hold true to your word and set goals, whether that's in work, in personal life, with money, like whatever it might be, you're only letting yourself down. And then that, for me, at least, that can ultimately bleed into other parts of my life. So like I was thinking about that with this podcast, and like that sounds kind of extreme when I say it out loud, but at the end of the day, like, I mean, we really wanted to get this going, and I'm upset with myself. I'm upset with us that we didn't get this, stay on that consistent schedule, because it's been 6 weeks or so since we've done one. So, don't want to be too hard on ourselves, but at least worth calling out that, everybody has fallbacks from time to time, but we're going to get back on the horse.
We're going to get back on the horse. And in our defense, sort of, we did plan on doing one, what was it, 2 weeks ago? a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
But we got lost.
so you got to tell the
riding,
story
yeah.
because this is worthwhile. Like this is legit. Just maybe because we're getting older, but it's worth the story at least.
All right. Well, I'll try to make it quick, but I don't know. You know what I mean? So Derek wanted to go mountain bike riding, and he's like, "You want to go?" And I was like, "Yeah, I would love to go. Like, it sounds fun. Go to Brown County mountain bike riding." Neither one of us have mountain bikes, so we had to borrow 2 mountain bikes. Well, I was supposed to find one. He was supposed to find one. He found both. I couldn't find anybody that rides a bike. So we're heading there, and just to let you know Derek's mindset, he looked at me and he's like, "I don't want to say I'm an expert, but I've done this a couple times." I'm like, "Okay, all right, cool." So we're going. We get to Brown County, and Derek gets out. He's got his helmet on. He's looking good, ready to go. He's got his shorts. Looks like a bike rider. Forgets his shoes, so he has to wear flip flops with socks. So yeah, let me tell you, he looked like an expert out there.
Yep.
So anyways, we go on these trails, and he asked me, what do you want to go on? Like, I'm like, oh, let's go on the expert. I don't care. We'll do it. It'll be fine. I had no idea what kind of mountain bike trails they have in Brown County. They're legit mountain bike trails. Like, I didn't know they were like that. Anyway, so we get a map. So you think we're going to be good. We make about 2 turns, and we were lost. I mean, like, literally lost. Not only lost, but it seems impossibly we only go uphill the entire time. There was maybe like, I know there's obviously times we went downhill, but it felt like all we did was go uphill on trails that were like this big, only for one bike path. And we kept passing people going the opposite way. And I was like, man, I can't believe they let people go both ways on these trails. These are just too small. Well, anyways, fast forward, 2 hours later?
At least, yeah.
2 hours later, me and him are both that we can't. I can barely. As soon as we get up to another hill that's slightly elevated, our legs give out, and we're just like, okay. So we start walking our bikes up. We finally found another hill that goes down, and we're going down, and here comes this other guy who also probably would claim he's an expert. We had
a GoPro
on his head. He's got a whole bike outfit on. He looks like he's an expert. And as we come past him, he's like, "Hey, you're going the wrong way." And I was like, "I knew it.
God.
I knew there was not 2 ways on these things." Anyways, he tells us about a mile back behind him is finally a road. Which by that point, I was ready to call 911 and tell somebody to come get us in a helicopter. Anyways, but he also told us that it's a steep, or what did he say, a tough way up or something like that. Basically, he said it's up still.
Yeah, what is it? We're in Hobson or whatever
Yeah,
it's called. He's like,
yeah,
this is the hardest trail. It's like,
yeah.
shit.
So anyways, we start going up this hill, and we maybe had a quarter of a mile left, and we just couldn't do it. And we saw a light, like there was a street. So we stopped the trail, went up just where the trees go, walked our bikes up this really steep thing, and got to the road finally. And you would think that's the end of the story, but it really wasn't, because we finally get out and we walk right to a beautiful little picnic table with a huge, like, awesome view. And there's this couple there, and they were like, "Did you guys just go up that?" And we're like, "Yeah." They're like, "That's the wrong way." We're like, "Yeah, we know. We were told." And anyways, like, "That's expert." So I was like, "Oh yeah, well, we went expert, but we went up it." Anyways, what was it? 3 miles to our car. We were on the opposite end of the park.
Yeah, I mean, total, I think we probably did 15 miles in 2.5 hours. 12 of it was through the woods. But yeah, I mean.
Now this was after work, so
yeah.
I had already worked all day.
Yeah, I mean, completely unprepared. I didn't have shoes on. Like, we didn't even have water bottles. Like, I didn't even bring like a backpack. So like, I had one of those foldable chairs, the sleeves that they go in. So I like just rigged up, threw some water bottles in there and put that around me. I mean, yeah, you didn't even have a helmet on first time.
Well, of course, when I was like, helmet, I'm like, what are we, 5? Like, I'm fine. Little did I know I probably needed a helmet. I mean, you're going through trees at like 20 miles an hour that are this close to each other as you're going through. So yeah, I should have used the helmet. You should have made me bring the helmet.
So we had it all planned out. It was a Tuesday night. It's like, hey, Mike, come here. We'll go down there. We'll bike for a couple hours. Maybe grab a beer afterwards. Come here. We'll knock a podcast out. So we spent way longer than we thought. Sun's going down. We did grab a beer afterwards.
It's like 9 o'clock.
And then like we're driving back and like yawning. We get back here and it's 9:15 and we look at each other. It's like, no, it's not gonna happen.
I was like, I
So-
gotta get up early. I was like, do we really want to do this? So yeah, we did. So it was our fault. We did have the intention to do it.
Yeah. So you gonna do it again?
I'll definitely do it again.
Yeah, so-
You know, not with your map though. We're gonna have. Oh, by the way, the guy let us know there is a app we could download that gives us the trails, GPSs, all that good stuff that we didn't have.
So anyway,
Expert.
you know, it's been 6 weeks, but it could have been 3. So anyway, it was fun.
It was fun.
I mean, like it's not like we're in terrible shape. We're not in amazing shape, but like that kicked our ass.
It kicked our ass.
Big
But
time.
also, we went backwards on expert.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like we did pretty well.
Fucking insane.
I feel like we owned it, but we just went the wrong way.
Oh man.
And you
idiots.
had your sandals
Yeah.
and socks, which was it kept me going, just watching me
Yeah.
pedal through these flip-flops.
But it's a good, like, it's like, that's what, you know, again, I feel like for us, you know, we got our kids, we got busy lives, like, you know, being able to take a day like that, I'm like, hey, let's go, you know, while it's nice weather, let's go try something new. And like, you know, everybody should do that. Like if you, you know, if you got your bucket list, it doesn't have to be like, I'm going to jump out of a plane or do whatever. Like, it's like, I mean, mountain biking's not the most normal thing, but it's, you know, people do it. And like, I'd done it a couple times in the past. I mean, you had since you were a kid. And so, yeah, oh, hell yeah, man. At some point, it'd be nice to maybe invest in that and do it more often.
Next time we go, I'm wearing spandex outfit. I'm having my helmet. I'm going to look legit.
All right. So, talking a little bit just to, you know, we didn't want to dive, at least with this podcast, too much into, you know, some of the more, I guess, serious topics. We kind of wanted to hit a reset. You know, we've talked about some things that we're going to do in the past. You know, I think we should commit to getting a guest next time. We've got a couple folks in mind that we can, you know, we can kick that off with. But, you know, anything that, you know, from just over the summer with COVID, with work, personal life, anything that you've kind of discovered about yourself, anything you want to share, whether it's good, something that you feel like you started to do better, if you slipped up on anything that you were kind of motivated or had your eye on and maybe took a step back, anything that, you know, comes to mind there?
I mean, I would say that I've definitely become, which is a first for me, is a little more goal orientated. Like I have realized through the insanity of not being able to do much, although I still went to work and stuff. So I was never to the point where I was just stuck at home, because I think I would have lost my mind. But just knowing that, you know, I have so much that I need to focus on, like school, work, you know, making sure the kids don't lose their minds, because they're losing their minds. You know, you can't play with their friends, you can't play with the neighbor friends because they were around somebody who sneezed and all that stuff. So I definitely learned maybe to, you know, plan a little more like you, I guess. But it helps, because I'm usually fly by the seat of my pants. Well, when there's nothing to fly around with and you're just stuck, like it's just like, wow, this is not really the best way to do it. So, I mean, that's what I learned. What about you?
Yeah, no, I think you know, I actually think I took a step back in that, because I am a pretty big planner. You know, one of those guys that tries to think 4 or 5 steps ahead as far as things that I need to do. I think I feel like I've gotten back on track now that school has started back up, and you know, me and you know, my ex-wife and her new family, like we've kind of felt back in that groove of, you know, especially with my kids, they've got after school activities, and so coordinating all this stuff, and then still not losing track of some of the things that I need to do, or not need to do, but I want to do for me. And so, you know, getting a little bit of exercising in, finding some fun, whether it's mountain biking, and we've had a chance with me and you and some other friends. We've you know, socially responsible, you know, gone out and, you know, done dinner and hung out. So, you know, having an opportunity to kind of re-engage with some folks. And I've really, you know, from working from home, for me, with my job being, you know, in sales, I was so used to traveling around, and so I'm coming up on 5 months now where, you know, usually I'm out to 3 or 4 locations in a given month, and I don't think I'm probably really going to travel for work the rest of this year. And so really kind of felt, you know, I found a rhythm here, waking up every day, you know, not wasting my day, sleeping until, you know, 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. And so doing some things to constantly keep my mind occupied and be productive. So yeah, I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah. Cause I know a lot of people that have gotten like way less motivated during this COVID thing. I've like done the opposite. I'm like way more motivated. Like I'm like waking up before work, working out. I wake up before, like I was kind of doing it before, but like I was just like, you know, I would do it, and then a week would go by, and I'd be like, I'm tired and all that. But now, all of a sudden, now I'm like motivated. ready to go.
I'm going to be so interested with you. And I know you're, and we haven't talked about this, pre-podcast. I'll probably put you on the spot here, but, when it comes to like dating for you specifically, because you have, man, in the last year, like you're so focused on all these things, and like you're the type of guy too now, especially like I think about like workouts. This dude's doing freaking ropes in his yard in the morning. I would love to be a car. I need to drive by your house one morning and just fucking make fun of you when you're doing it. But I mean, you're so regimented on that stuff that I will be interested to see how you react when there's a new curveball, we're on like a major scale. So whether that's you start dating somebody seriously, whether there's a new work priority, whether it's something like, I'll be interested to see like how you react to that.
Yeah, me too. No, it's gonna be different because normally what I would do is once someone came into my life, I would kind of just adjust everything to them and make sure they were like what I thought about, in the mornings and like how I could work and I'm not saying I wouldn't do that now, but not really like I used to. And I don't think it was honestly very healthy for me to just like dive right in and try to like focus on them a whole bunch. Like I got shit that I really do need to make sure I'm still doing all the time. So yeah, it's good. I'm honestly just curious to see what it's gonna happen because it's gonna be a different me. It's not gonna be the same. I'm not saying I'm not gonna like, do stuff for them, but it's definitely gonna be more like, I do have my things too, and it's not just, I don't know, it sounds dickish, but
no, and that's I mean that's in our conversations, it's one of the things that I think through all this year especially, and us having these conversations that and we've touched on a previous podcast, like I know for me, like I'm a very big people pleaser. I get uncomfortable when I know that especially if it's somebody that's a close friend or in my circle of friends, that if I've done something to agitate them, or maybe I feel like I let them down because I wasn't there for them, or I didn't go somewhere or participate in something, I feel like that stuff would really eat at me. I think something has switched, and I don't know if I would like to think it's through some of the self-work and discovery that it's okay to say no. Yeah. It's okay to maybe some of those folks that, oh man, if I didn't do that, now they're going to be mad or frustrated. Like I have really done a good job of doing things that like I want to do. And if I ever feel like I'm in a situation where it's like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Like, Derek, you don't have to do that stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big thing I've really learned. But there's one takeaway in 2020 to this point is it's probably that and I think in the past, having those thoughts, I mean, like you're selfish. You're being selfish, but like, no, like, and trying to still draw that fine line of what is selfish versus, you're just doing the things that you want to, that are good for you. I mean, it's tough sometimes, but I was always probably on the other end of that bell curve of being a people pleaser, and I think I'm coming back to the norm, or and maybe I deserve to come more back to me just based on those years. So I think that's one thing I've learned.
No, definitely, and honestly, like it's something I've learned too in relationships is like it's not always like I've weeded out anything in my life that's unhealthy. And if you can't tell somebody something without worrying they're going to hate you or like make you feel bad about stuff, then it's not a healthy relationship. Like we should be able to tell each other no. Like, hey, you want to go mountain bike riding? No, because you give me lost. We're not gonna do it this time, and we're still friends. It'd be fine. Like it wouldn't be a big deal. Same with relationships. Like you should be able to say things to people or have boundaries, and it's not a big deal. And to us, it's weird because it's. My boundaries I would always just erase for somebody just to make them feel comfortable.
Yeah.
But that's not healthy. And I think 2020 we should be healthy.
Yeah.
Like we need to figure out like if you're with somebody who you can't do that with, maybe it's not healthy. Maybe you should do something else. I mean, you know what I mean? Like I really do feel that way. And I don't think it's something that you should take lightly. Like I used to take that real lightly. I mean, on my end, like I wouldn't take it lightly for somebody else. I'd be like, okay, that's the boundary. I need to make sure I don't do it. But like I would never set boundaries, and honestly, I don't even think the other person can respect you if you don't. You know what I mean? Like maybe not knowingly they're not respecting you, but they won't.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I think the other big thing for me too is I'm just gaining more perspective too, and I think a lot of that has to do with Haley, my oldest. I mean, she's 16. She's going on 17 here in October, and junior year, so really 2 more years left of high school, and she's got her car, and so she's doing more things with her friends, and those moments where I get her to engage in conversations, or kind of get an insight into maybe what she's thinking after high school, like just trying to take a moment where when your kids are younger, maybe you don't take it as serious, but I mean, it's cliche, but time flies, man, and I'm really starting to feel it with my oldest. So
Yeah, definitely.
Really trying to take that in. All right, man. Well, hey, I think when we talk, we just wanted to reset. It's been a while. Say hi. Like, we're still here. We're gonna do better. We'll commit. I think not to put some people on the spot, but Mathis, Kinder Flowers, Christina Collins, Abby Mercer. There's a handful of folks that have given some really nice feedback. Eddie Haggerty and his wife Kayla, I'd really like to potentially get them on. So there's a handful of folks I think we'll start with. I don't know if there's anybody else that I didn't mention. I know you get mad because I'm the one that usually gets the feedback. But we'll do better. So that's it for me. I'll let you close it out. If you have anything else that you want to share.
No, man, I think you said it all, honestly. I definitely think it'd be better to have guests. I honestly would like it to be a little more interactive, honestly, like topics, what to say. I just think we would do better. I mean, we have stuff we want to say too, but I feel like other perspectives are always good. So,
well, that's our commitment, and it is mid-August, and we will commit before the end of August to get another episode up with our first guest. And if we don't, then on us, man. Yeah, Derek's hired. So, all right. Well, again, I'm Derek.
I'm Mike.
That's what he said, and we will catch you guys on the next episode. Appreciate it.
Peace.